Hello, when I first started QuickBooks Online, it was very overwhelming, but now I know QuickBooks really well, and now I help thousands of roofers and millions of dollars of sales track everything in QuickBooks Online. So today I'm going to uncover all the steps that we take click by click and how you can know exactly where to go in QuickBooks Online without guessing and being confused and being frustrated. And the biggest thing that I have learned when I'm working with clients one-on-one, it can be a roofer's wife that's doing the bookkeeping. It could be a bookkeeper doing bookkeeping for a roofer, maybe in their office or even remotely. And the biggest things that I come across is they are overwhelmed with it just because they don't know the steps to take. And everything in QuickBooks actually makes sense. So everything that you do leads to another thing. And so today I'm actually going to break that down for you. And the most important thing is to get your estimate in, to get your deposit, create your invoice, get the job done, and get your final payment. So in this video, that is what I'm going to share with you today. And if you need help with your bookkeeping in your roofing company or your stay-at-home mom and you want to learn how to do bookkeeping and have a career in bookkeeping and serving roofing contractors, I have a free call, a free training that I will do with you. And the link will be in the description. The name of it is Certified Roofing Bookkeeper, exactly what it is. And this will also show that you are approved to do roofing bookkeeping, and this will help you land your first client as well. So this video actually is for bookkeepers, and it is for roofing contractors and their bookkeepers. So now let's get with it. The first thing that I'm going to do is share the screen with you. And we're going to get to a QuickBooks Online here. And today I'm basically going to use my company that I have. But this is where we are going to start. And I have some notes over here. So if I'm looking over in this area, I'm just making sure that I've covered everything so you completely understand how to do this. Okay. The first thing that we're going to do, this is the new QuickBooks menu. And to get to accounting task, you can just click accounting. It's right here on your left-hand side. If something is showing all of these tabs here, you can click this little button, this little arrow, and then it will compact it for you so that you can open up each one of these things individually as you need them. Okay. And sometimes there's many different ways to getting to things in QuickBooks, and it can be confusing. But I'm going to do my best to show you the quickest way that we can get done what we need to get done today. Okay. And so here, I'll unclick that so you can see. I have my cursor. We're going to what we call the gear icon. So we'll click on the gear icon. And then you'll have your company information, list, tools, and our profile. Now, I am in the new version of QuickBooks, so if you ever needed to switch back to the old version, then you can click switch. But as next month, the QuickBooks is actually going to close the old version. We're going to go to list, and we're going to go to our products and services. We would go to new when we get to our products and services, and we want roofing to be a service. So we're going to click on service. And here, what we're going to put in is retail roofing. Okay, and this covers like residential re-roofs, or could be install a new roof or something in that area. And the item type is going to be service. If you wanted to pick something different, that is the list, and you could pick anything, okay? One applies to you. And your category, we would have a category here, for instance, roofing. So for right now, I'm just going to click on the launch, okay? And then class, you could have whatever class this is. Say I'm just going to put products for now. But if you did want to like put roofing sales, you can just start typing that, and QuickBooks will show you a line right here. And so we would add new, and then you could choose the name again, make sure it's what you want, click save, and then QuickBooks would create that, okay? But I don't need to create that right now. For now, we'll just keep it just with products here. And then I sell the service to my customer. So a roofing company would sell a residential re-roof to their customer. And so I'm just going to put here residential re-roof. And then you can put retail. This actually shows up in your description. So you could put remove old shingles and install new shingles. I'm just going to give it a short description there just to help it out. And then we wouldn't put any price rate because it's always a different price. And then for income sales, since I don't have any roofing sales in here, what we're going to do is put retail roofing. And when this says income account, this goes back to your chart of accounts. So now we're going to create this, and it's going to take us to our chart of account screen. Okay, so we're going to say retail roofing, type of, and that would be, it's an income we're going to receive. And then we can see down here, we have, this is going to be a service fee income. It's a service income, basically. Okay. And we can say to make this a sub account. And these at the bottom are our chart of accounts. And so we can click any of these. So that gives us an idea. So what we're going to say is this is going to be under our sales. And then we can put roofing sales. Okay. And I'm just going to name this account for now. Right now, the sales account, the last one was, so let's do 4070. So we have a new account number automatically in our chart of accounts. Okay, so now we've got a retail roofing, the account number, the type of income, account type, it's income, the detail is service fee income. Our parent company is sales, and then under sales is roofing sales. Okay, so we have all that in, so we can just click save here. Okay, we don't purchase this from a service or from a vendor, so we'll just save and close this. Okay, so now we have our product in. So this is our product right here that we just added. Okay, so just kind of keep that in mind. So now we're going to go over to our accounting. Just click that little arrow there and it'll open up for you. Now let's check what we just did. So let's go to chart of accounts. And then if we scroll all the way down to the 4,000 accounts, the 4,000 accounts are your sales accounts. Okay. So we're just going to keep scrolling down here. to look for that 4070. Make sure we have it here. And there it is right there, 47 retail roofing. And what this means is when we create a profit and loss under our sales, it will be retail roofing, okay? So I'm going to close that back up so we know that it's done. The next thing we're going to do is there's a little button over here called Create. So let's go to Create an Estimate. And they will give you a little tour here sometimes as you're going through QuickBooks. But we don't need that today. So I'm actually, this is a new customer that I went out and took a look at their roof. So we're going to call this, let's just say, Mr. Jones. That's an easy name. So we'll add Mr. Jones. And because he wasn't already in QuickBooks as a customer, then this screen will pop up for you. You don't have to pay any attention to this QuickBooks Business Network. So just click the X button for that. QuickBooks is just telling you that people with this name, that all of those people could be this Mr. Jones that we're doing a roof for. So they're looking at all the names in the area. And then you could click one of those and then connect with them through QuickBooks Online. We have his first name. We're just going to leave it as Mr. and Jones. He's not a company, so it's not a company we're doing a roof for. And then it will say client display name, how you want it to show on the invoice. So we're just going to say Mr. Jones. And then you would put like their email address in. You would enter their phone number in. And if it was anybody else that you needed to copy on this estimate, then you would put their information in. But you could fill in all of this that you needed to there, okay? And this isn't a sub-account. Then we would come down and enter their address, their city, their state, zip code, and country. And any notes that we had about this job, we could say something like, this is a double layer. Okay. And if we took pictures on the job, we could click Add Attachment and then look for the pictures on our computer and add this to the attachment. My son runs a construction company, so he does this quite a bit when he's doing an estimate. He takes pictures at the house when he's out there. Then when he sends the estimate, he will send them the pictures to show them exactly what he's going to be doing. Okay. And then the payment method, this doesn't really matter too much. They might be paying you cash, check, credit card, QuickBooks payment, PayPal, whatever, but you don't have to fill this in like right now. The terms I always think are good. I always do on receipt, most all roofing jobs. After we get the deposit, as we'll see a little further in the video here, then our final payment, we want that due on receipt. Okay, and then any additional info you could put here. Prior clients, roofing company, let's put roofing company. Then tax exempt and that type of thing. You could add a custom field. So that's all we need to enter in a new customer. So that's what we just did. We entered a new customer. So we're going to save this. Okay, in QuickBooks, automatically will have their name, your address, your estimate number, your estimate date, and then you can put in your expiration date. Say if this will expire September the 28th, then we would have that. And then once it's accepted, then you could come back to this estimate and write the person's name, okay? And then the accepted date, right? So the next thing we're going to do, really, we're just going to go to our service date and say we're going to start this September the 1st. our product, we can just start typing retail, and the retail roofing will show up. So we can just click on there. That's why it's really important to set up your service or your product first. And you can have an unlimited number of services and products, but we try and keep that list very small so we don't have so many names to go through so that we don't get confused. So a residential re-roof. And for this demonstration, this demo, I'm just going to put $100. Okay. And then the products, we put in something roof. Oh, we didn't actually add that class, but then you could put whatever class you added if you did that. Okay. You don't have to use classes. It can be beneficial. And now we're going to unclick this for tax. We're not going to be taxing roofing. It varies from state to state whether the roofing is taxable or non-taxable. So that part you would have to check with your state or the roofer's state that you're doing work in. If it was tax, you do have to add taxes, then QuickBooks would automatically calculate that tax for you. Okay. So then over here, the customer can pay, if you go through QuickBooks, they could pay any of these, a bank, ACH, American Express, Discover, MasterCard, Visa, Apple Pay. Just keep in mind there is a small fee for the ACH, which is pretty inexpensive to get your payment, your money like really fast in the next day or two. Now, if you use a credit card, you need to add 3% like to your price up here so that it covers your cost for processing a credit card. And what I generally do, I'll ask the customer if they will pay ACH or if they want to use a credit card and just let them know that it will be a 3% or 5% charge to process a credit card of what the credit card companies charge. Then you can put here, you can edit this, put anything you want to in this field here as you're in the estimate. And then a memo for just internal company. And then you can also add your attachment there, okay? And then the next thing you would do is just review and send. You could just click this button here. And all that's telling us is I didn't enter a class in, okay? And then you could even put in their email once you get here. And then this would be sent to the customer. Estimate your roof, your $100, review and approve. So they could take a look at it here, see exactly what it is. But we're going to go back here. I'm not going to send anything, but we're just going to save it here, okay? At save and close at the bottom here. If you click this little arrow, you'll see a save and close there. Or saving you if you want a new estimate to pop up, okay? So save and close, we'll say yes. Okay. What we can do actually is just go back to our create. This little plus says create. Go back over to our customers, the first column, and we can go to estimate. And there are several ways that you can get to estimates, but I'm just showing you the shortest path, okay? So you could click on this little round thing here, arrow, and it will show you all the recent transactions, okay? If you click view more, there will be a big screen, okay? So now we can click on the estimate that we just did, okay? And let's say that this person, it was accepted by John Jones. The acceptance date was the 28th, okay? And then let's save and close again after we put our acceptance date in. Then we're going to go back to create our customers and estimate and look this back up again. Let's go back to it. Okay, now you have the estimate like you have here. Now up at the top here, you'll see the edit. You could edit this if you wanted to. This is the estimate number. We have manage, take tour, and feedback. And then this X closes out this page if you needed to do that. So now we'll click manage. Okay, and then it says pending. We're going to click accepted. And then you'll see convert to invoice right here. Okay, so let's convert to invoice. It's just telling me I have some missing classes that aren't there. So okay, so now this is an invoice here. And if you have projects set up, you could, when you click convert to invoice, you could say you want 50% of it converted to an invoice. And then when you complete the job, then you would invoice the other 50%. You can look at the payer view here also. Do that. Let's just close out of here. Now let's compact accounting. Let's go to our customer hub and let's go to our clients. And here you can look for Jones, Mr. Jones. And you'll see the estimate and everything here. Doesn't look like it actually converted it. So now we can click convert to invoice as well from here. Okay. So let's click save and close. Okay, now you see the estimate for 100 and you see the invoice for 100. Okay, so now you'll see if you want to view this invoice, view and edit, which you can view or edit that. And then they have receive payment. So what we're going to do is receive payment. Okay, and then you'll have the client's name. You'll have the payment date. Say they gave a check. And in QuickBooks, because sometimes we are depositing multiple checks, we want to always deposit into this account that's in our chart of accounts, 1210 undeposited funds. Okay. Now say that they only gave us the deposit amount, which was 50%. We can type in $50 there. And so now we're applying $50 to that $100. And then we can click save and close. Okay. So now when you come and look at this, you'll see the estimate. It was converted to an invoice. And here are invoices, $100, and here our payment is $50. And you always want to make sure you have your estimate date. QuickBooks goes a lot by the date. So you want to make sure you have the estimate date that is before your invoice date. So this invoice date needs to be the same date, like 8/28 today, or 8/29, or sometime going in forward. Then after you have your invoice in, then your deposit date or your payment date needs to be a date after the invoice date. And this part is really important and critical, because if these dates aren't correct, then you will have errors in QuickBooks that you have to clean up, because QuickBooks can't apply a payment to an invoice that doesn't exist yet. Like a lot of roofers, they will put in their estimate and then they'll get the deposit, which is this payment here, but they haven't created the invoice. So you have to go back in and you have to make sure that this invoice is created before the payment date. Okay. So those are things that you want to look for there. Okay. So then after we do that, I'm going to close this up here, and I want to show you where the money actually went. Okay. So we're going to go back to our little create button here. And on this menu, you are mainly using this create button and this pinned accounting button down here. And then within accounting, you have all of these tabs that you can get into. If you don't want to see all the tabs, this is what we call a hamburger here. So we would just click that and it gives you more space on the screen. Now, if we open it back up, then we can see, you know, what we want to see. The same thing here. You can close those things up on the screen. Now what we want to do is go back to our create, and we're going to go all the way over to other and then go to bank deposit. When you get to this screen, then you will see the payment for $50 for Mr. Jones. You can click on that payment. Say this other person gave you some money too. So you can click on both of those, and that way your deposit is $99. And when this deposit, say you deposited both these checks in the bank account, when it comes through the bank feed, the bank deposit will be exactly $99. Keep in mind, when you receive payments, that whatever you deposited into the bank has to match with what you are receiving and that's on the screen here. So that's really important. And that's why we put everything to undeposited funds, so we can match up checks together to match our bank feed. Otherwise, your bank feed won't match and you'll have a lot of problems. Okay. So that's the next thing that we want to do. But this is where your deposit is, but I'm just going to click save and close here. Okay. And it's just saying, do you want to leave without saving? And I'm going to say yes. Okay. Now say for this person that now we did the job and it's all finished. So we're going to come back over to our accounting. We're going to come to Customer Hub. Then we're going to go to clients. Okay, so we're going to look back up Mr. Jones. We finished the job. So now we can click on new transaction, and then we can actually go to payment here. You have your invoice under new transaction, your payment, any reoccurring payment, estimate, payment link, sales receipt, credit memo, delayed charge, and all of these things, contract. So we are mainly using the invoice and the payment, or you could possibly be creating an estimate from a client's name. Okay. You can create an estimate that way too. Okay. We'll click on the payment. And so it brings you to this screen. So you have the client's name, you have, say, the payment date on this is the 1st, and say they gave you another check, and this is going to our undeposited funds. Okay. And then these are the open invoice listing here for Mr. Jones. Okay. So now we're just going to click that. Click it right beside the invoice. So we got $50 from Mr. Jones. So then we can just save and close this, okay? So now when you look in his account, you have your estimate, you have your invoice, you have your payment 1, and you have your payment 2, okay? And so I just want to show you again right quick. If you, in your customer hub, if you compact that again, open it back up, and then go to clients, we've added a product to our products and services. We have added an income account to our chart of accounts for roofing, and we have created an estimate. We received the deposit on the roofing job, and then we did the job, and then we converted the invoice, converted the estimate to the invoice. And then we, after the job was complete, we then received the payment from the customer. Once we converted the estimate to an invoice, then we will be sending the homeowner the invoice for the first payment, and then whatever the balance due is, then we would send him that one as well. Okay. That are the key things that we were discussing today. A lot of people get confused with QuickBooks Online and the process that we go through to get to this point. But if you follow those steps, step by step, then you have a really easy way of your own Facebook, and you meet a customer there and they need a roofing job done, that you can take, you take the customer's name, make your appointment, go out there. As soon as you get all of your information together, come back to QuickBooks, put in your estimate, whatever you want to put in there, add your customer, put in your estimate, do all that good stuff. And then you would send them through email the estimate, and then you can follow up with them. And then if they say, okay, I want you to do this job, then you would approve that job in QuickBooks, so you know you have that job. And you would then convert that to an invoice that you can send the customer for his deposit. If you do open projects in QuickBooks, then you can just tell QuickBooks, just invoice 50% of whatever it is, and that is the amount that will be on the customer's invoice. Or you can invoice the customer the whole amount, tell them it's 50%, then they give you the payment, you receive the payment in QuickBooks, it goes to undeposited funds, do the job, get the money, you do the job, and then when you get finished the job, then you would email them the final invoice, okay? And then they can pay online to you the final amount due. You can either pick up a check, they can pay you online through QuickBooks Online when you set up to receive credit card and ACH. You get the money within 2 to 4 days, something like that. And then you have that job all cleared out. And then the only thing left that you have to do is get your testimonial from the person of how they like the job that you did for them. But that is the whole walkthrough. And I do hope that was simple and easy for you. And I do have some free resources for you. So if you need help with your bookkeeping, or you want to be trained how to do the bookkeeping in QuickBooks Online, then please go to certifiedroofbookkeeper.com, and we can get on a free call and see exactly where you are and what your goal is and what we need to get done. I have a QuickBooks Online setup checklist, and that's totally free. So you can go and pick up that checklist. There is also a QuickBooks Online accountant that's totally free. So if you want to be a bookkeeper for roofing companies, you can sign up for that. And then you get like a free account that you can do your own accounting. And then also you can practice moving around in QuickBooks Online, setting up things. I have a link for QuickBooks Online, and this is something that helped me a lot. And I encourage you to take up on is when you click that link that you would sign up for your company, which is a QuickBooks Online. It's usually 14 days free or 30 days free, whatever special they have going on. Just go in there and just pretend like you have your first roofing client and get everything set up in there for a roofing company. As you're on Facebook and you're contacting roofers, then when you get your first client, if it's went within that 14 days or that 30 days, and you already have it started. So that gives you a good way to get started. Plus, I think even if you cancel at the 14 days, you've had the experience of going into QuickBooks, setting up your chart of accounts, setting up your company, and just being able to go around in QuickBooks and get familiar with QuickBooks. I do have, like in our certified roofing program, like a whole 13 module training with QuickBooks Online where I walk you through everything. Sign up for the 15 days or 30 days and get in there and practice and see if it's your thing or not, whether you enjoy it or whether you don't. Thank you for tuning in today. And I look forward to talking with you next week. And next week, we are actually going to be getting into how to buy back your time and having freedom in your business. And what it's really, I'll review with you behind the scenes of how I run my bookkeeping company. And this will also help you with your pricing to roofing companies to doing bookkeeping for them as well. If you're a wife or a bookkeeper working for a roofer, it will actually help you have more time in your day to getting everything done. Thank you, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.